Hey guys, I got a lot of messages and about talking about Nicky Scarfo and Philly and Eddie and a whole bunch of things that happened during the war in Philadelphia. I already talked about some things about Johnny Keys, and when we took Johnny Keys out, Nicky Scarfo became the boss of the family. There was a guy in their family, John Stanfa, and he had very strong ties in Italy, Sicily, I believe. Those people in Sicily had strong ties to the Gambino family. Nicky Scarfo wanted to kill this guy, John Stanfa. He was away for a while, came back after Paul was killed. So Nicky reached out to me and said, Sammy, set up a meeting between John Gotti, Frankie DeCicco, and yourself. And I want to come in with my nephew, who is now his underboss, and discuss something very important. I said, okay, fine. I got my wife and my kids out of the house. My brother-in-law, Eddie, was around. He would stay outside in front so nobody would come into the house. He would sit in a car out there. They came in. I welcomed them in the house. I brought them up into my home. I took them in a back room where I had a little back patio. John Gotti and Frankie DeCicco were still alive. So it was right after the Castellano hit, not too long after. They came there, and the meeting started. Me and Philly and Eddie sat on the side. I overheard most of it, but we sat on the side. It was a pretty lengthy conversation. John Gotti seemed to tell Nicky Scarfo about the Castellano hit. I don't know why he said it, but he said, we got permission. Everything is cool in New York. That really wasn't true, but it's what he said. That was one of the things that stuck out to me. And I think you guys would want to hear that. But the other thing he was talking about, Nicky had said, this John Stanfa guy, he wanted to kill him. He had reasons. He explained some of the reasons. Part of it I missed, so I'm not going to go into everything of the reasons why. But the biggest part of it is Nicky was the boss, and he wanted to kill one of his men. And he didn't want to offend the Gambino family or the people in Sicily. And they talked about it. Frankie DeCicco immediately came up with a remedy to this whole thing. He said, we appreciate that you came and talked to us about this. You showed us respect. We do have people who know him. He in Philadelphia and in Sicily, Italy. He said, what we could do is we could reach him and tell him to leave the United States, to go back to Italy, enjoy your life. He'll never be bothered. He'll never be touched. We want your word on that, number one. Number two, they asked about a lot of things that were going on in Philadelphia. Frankie seemed curious to what was happening, what he was doing, and our relationship with the Philadelphia mob. Angelo Bruno was very, very close with Carlo Gambino and was also close with Paul Castellano. So we had a history with that family at one time. It deteriorated during that war, and after Nicky took over, seemed to have a stronger relationship with the Genovese people. He was in jail with some of them. So Frankie wanted to bring it back where it belonged in the first place. A lot of that conversation I wasn't too privy of. I didn't hear it. But I did hear Nicky tell John and Frankie, I give you my word, we won't touch him if he leaves the country. But I want to add this in. If he comes back from Italy, he comes back into the Philadelphia area, we're going to kill him. John and Frankie thought that was fair enough. They thanked him, and they told him, if he comes back, you got our blessings. Kill him. When that meeting was over, it broke up, I had picked them up from someplace else and brought them to my house, where I normally would pick them up for these meetings. Then I took them back to that place. I drove them back, and they left. When I got back to the house, John and Frankie were still there. My brother-in-law was around. He wasn't a friend of ours. He wasn't a made guy yet. I excused him from the meeting, and I listened to Frankie and John go over some of the things and how we would react to them, how they told me, you have a real strong relationship with this Nicky, obviously. John really didn't know the extent of the whole Keys thing. Frankie did. So keep that alive. Keep it strong, Sammy. He seems to think the world of you, John said. He didn't know why at that point. So I said, yes, I'll do that. I said I knew the nephew. I actually recommended the nephew to become a made guy, which he did. And then I talked with Nicky when he was considering him to be his underboss. And I had told him, you couldn't pick a better guy. So we concluded that meeting on that note. But we had one more thing to do. We had to reach out the person who knew Stanford. And we sent the message that if you go back to Italy and leave, you and your family, or you alone, your family's got nothing to do with this, really, you'll be all right. You'll live a good, normal life out there. You'll be respected out there because you're a friend of ours in the United States, and you obviously have strong ties out there. Maybe you'll become a friend out there as well. If you come back and you go to Philadelphia, we can't protect you. You're on your own. You will be killed. And we can't intervene. There's nothing we can do about it. The crazy part of this whole story is that Stanford did come back. He went to prison. When he got out, I'm not sure, I think it was 1989 or something like that, he got out of prison. We were around. We thought about it. We talked about it. This guy came back. He was going to wind up getting killed. But he didn't get killed. When he got out of prison in 89, he went right back into the life. You got to remember, Nicky Scarfo was gone. Phil Leonetti was gone. Most of the players, Frankie DeChico was gone. Most of the players were gone. He actually became the boss. From what I heard, I was in prison in 1991, and I heard he became the boss of the family. From 91 to about 94, I'm not exactly sure of the years or months or stuff like that, but that's the crazy part of this whole story. So I hope that answers a lot of questions that I got about some of these things. There's a million stories. I could keep going for days, more than likely, but I will put them out at different times in different podcasts, different videos. So right now, if you like this story, and press like, subscribe to the show. If you're interested in hearing these things and more without commercials or ads, we have Patreon. We're doing pretty good. There's quite a few members who became members in the Gravano family, we call it. We give good discounts on stuff that we're selling on our website. We just added a whole bunch of stuff. I did a video not too long ago about it. And there's much, much more to come. I think you're going to enjoy this. All right. Adios, amigos.